But you also have to be very careful because 2020 is going to expose a lot of business models. For example, look at the restaurant industry, which we have been short and remain short. I've talked about some of these stocks on your show and elsewhere on CNBC. I mean, what people got really wrong here was they looked at the restaurant companies, which are basically franchisors, and they said these companies are asset light, and therefore they just collect coupons in the form of royalty fees. But what they missed was their franchisees were really, really leveraged, the people operating the boxes, and struggling before the virus hit. There were a number of Chapter 11s in the restaurant industry in December, January, and February. And on top of that, the franchisors, the guys like Dunkin' and Wendy's and restaurant brands, all are landlords as well. So they lease restaurants from investors and then sublease them to their restaurant franchisees. So there's sort of double hidden leverage there. And then on top of that, most of those companies then went out and bought lots of stock back at the highs. And so you've got companies that are really, really levered that are basically now the landlords for really, really levered restaurants underneath them who are also leveraged and losing money and or closing. So it's like triple leverage. And those business models, I think, are going to be exposed in 2020 for what they really are. And I think it's going to be one of the dark sides of the buyback boom, I think.
So names like Wendy's, Dunkin', and QSR restaurant brands, which you had said prior that you were short, you still are, all three?
We still are, yeah. We still are short all three names.
And more stocks in the restaurant space as well, or are those primarily the ones that you have talked about and that you still are?
Those primarily, but we're keeping an eye very closely on the whole space. Leave it at that.
And even in the prospects of what we're currently dealing with, that some of these businesses that have drive-throughs could obviously see a tick up in business, or at least try to, toe the line until the other side.
Yeah, again, we're looking at situations. We're trying to normalize the business, so we will write off the first quarter and second quarter, and really see what the business looks like going forward. Now with restaurants, what you have to understand is some of their franchisees may not make it, and I think that's why you have to be very careful with those. The other related group, and you and I have talked about it